Woo-hoo-hoo! And we're live once again on another Tuesday, and I have such a special guest in the house today, Shelly, all the way from Canada. You guys are going to just think I'm like a Canadian fan, which I am. We're just getting so many Canadians on the show. But Shelly's especially important because I have known her for so long on LinkedIn and just got to meet her today. And yet it already feels like I've known her for ages. So before we get started, Shelly, can you just introduce who you are, what you do, and then we'll just get stuck right in?
Well, thanks for having me. First of all, it's great to be here and great to spend some time with you finally. Um,
Yay!
so, what do I do? I am a career development specialist, but I have always considered myself a career development specialist with a LinkedIn twist. So,
Mm.
I don't really do any career development without including a big portion of LinkedIn with that, because I don't believe that you can job search successfully, or at least get what you can out of your job search strategy, unless you include LinkedIn. So that's what I do. I'm also a LinkedIn trainer. So I train entrepreneurs, job seekers, and especially students in higher education. That's been my specialty since I've worked in higher education for quite a long time. And yeah, and I also teach other professional skills as well. But LinkedIn is something that is deeply rooted in what I stand for, and I'm a big community person, so it has helped me build an amazing community. You included, Jillian.
Yay. Yay. Wonderful. Wonderful. And this is a really special topic. And I can tell you that I have a really hard time with the word reciprocity. I can never say that word, but we're leading on LinkedIn by flexing your social eh, muscles.
Reciprocity.
I don't know why I have such a hard time with that word. But I love this because you said before you teach anyone about optimizing your profile and all the other LinkedIn strategy stuff, you start with this. This is the
Mhm.
important, this is kind of like the prequel to anything you do. So, can you kind of just take us back and say, why do you think this is so important?
So when I first started out, which is now about, I guess, about 12 years or so, if not give or take, but 10 years since I'm in business with Linked Express. But prior to that, I was also, teaching LinkedIn, and I was doing what many do, profile optimization, put this in there and you'll have what you need. But then I realized that just for me is not the key to success on LinkedIn.
Mm.
And why I start with talking about relationship building and social reciprocity is because if you decide to take that approach by giving first,
Mm.
more than
Mm.
anything, you will change the way that you write your story. You will change
Oh,
the way that you develop content. You will change the way that you respond to people once they become your connection and they start communicating with you. Everything will change
mm.
because instead of it being about you, it will be about other people. So
Yes.
before anybody writes their about section or their story as a whole, I want them to think about the audience first. And
Mm.
so once they start thinking about relationship building and the purpose of LinkedIn, the mission and vision of LinkedIn is about networking and building relationships and having professionals advance other professionals in any way that they
Mm.
can. So when we go back to the mission and vision of LinkedIn, it's really important to put that in to anything that you do. So the process of developing your LinkedIn journey, or processing along that LinkedIn journey, if you're not thinking about other people,
Mm.
then you're not in line with the mission and vision of LinkedIn. So for me, you will never have that ultimate success that you strive for. But if you position yourself by thinking first about others and what their needs would be and how you can develop stronger relationships with them, everything will change from, like
Mm.
I said, the content to how you even develop those relationships or even reach out to relationships, it will make a huge difference. And
I
that's
love
why I
that.
always start off with that. So everybody's eager to get their profiles built and their stories, in play. But I will always start off by talking about the importance of relationship building because it always comes
I love
first.
that. I love that. I love that. And I think this is so key because I know so many people, they get onto LinkedIn, they send, a bunch of generic, 60 million generic invites that just say, I'm trying to expand my network, which is just like,
Yeah.
it's about me, right? And they fire off all these things to just anybody that's breathing. They're just
Hmm.
click, 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 click. And then as soon as you even connect with them, they're sticking you on their newsletter, they're spamming you with, here's my stuff, buy my stuff. And you're just kind of like, wow, this is, of course it's not going to work for you. You've just come at it from a you perspective, not as a go-giver, and that's kind of, you remind me of that book, The Go-Giver. I don't know
Yeah,
if you've ever read that book, but
of
it's so
course.
perfect. And that's your attitude, because it's like, I remember, like, even your content, like, Shelly, first of all, you're just like the most giving person ever. I love everything you
Thank
do.
you.
You shout out people, you personalize, you send messages, you just kind of do everything right. And yet you have this huge network. And a lot of times when people have a huge network, then they kind of like go, well, I'm an influencer now. So you little people carry on amongst yourselves. But you kind of like roll up your sleeves and you're like, I'm still here. I'm taking stands on issues. I'm helping people. I'm shouting people out. Like, you are a go giver with the capital G.
Oh, thank you.
But also your content, like, you could kind of say, well, okay, but my content's going to be all about buy my stuff. But your content, like, I remember Jeff talks about it a lot. And Jeff, I know you're out there, so put the link in, because I know you have the link. And he's like, off he goes. But you wrote something that was like, are you LinkedIn or not LinkedIn? I'm sorry if I'm not getting the title right. And it was all these questions of, what are you really doing that makes you part of LinkedIn? And I remember going through that, and I took it as homework. I took it very
Yeah.
seriously, and I downloaded the PDF and I went, yes, yes, no, I haven't done that yet. So I went, okay, I'd never done a poll. It was just like, why aren't I doing a poll? I don't know. That's a good idea. So you were giving, like, I don't know, there was like 100 things or something. I think it's like growing and growing and growing. But that's a giving, that to me is also part of the whole social reciprocity thing, is content that helps people, that stimulates conversations, connections. Just, you're a great walking story of everything.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, it's at 200 now. And I have to give a little shout out to Jeff Young, our mutual friend. But, he was using it when he was doing some training. And it started off at 50. And when he came back, 50 questions, are you LinkedIn or simply on LinkedIn, or are you truly LinkedIn? And he came back and said, I used it, the 50 questions, and that inspired me. So now it's up to 200. I don't know when I'll be
Gosh.
adding to that, but it's really a document that's just to, number one, get people thinking. Number two, for them to dive a little bit deeper into what LinkedIn actually is
Yep.
than just
Yep.
staying on the surface. So many people stay on the surface without doing a deeper dive, and you have to do a deeper dive. It's meant to do that. And then three, like, just to think about how you can progress, because it's not a destination, it's a journey.
Mm,
So there are
mm,
new things coming out all of the time. We have to be aware of those new things, and we have to embrace them, whether we like them or not. We have to embrace them if we want
yes.
to, if we want to go along on this journey and be successful on this journey and enjoy it along the way.
I
um,
love it. I love
just
it.
have a
That's so
growth
true.
mindset on LinkedIn. It's important.
Growth mindset. That's everything, because it's like, we're not born knowing how to do all this stuff.
Yeah.
So that's why, and I remember shouting you out as a LinkedIn leader to follow when I first got it I can't speak either. When I first getting started on LinkedIn, I was looking for leaders to follow, people like Jeff Young, John Asperian, you, Kevin Turner. There was just so many different leaders. And I went, well, and then I started telling people, well, if you want to know how to do LinkedIn right, because they said, I don't know who to follow. Like, I just have 3 people in my network. I'm not learning anything. How do you know so much? And I said, you have to follow people that are good examples, that are doing LinkedIn right, playing by the rules, and they're making a positive difference. And so that's when I started doing that little series. And I
Mhm.
remember doing you, and you were so kind about it. And speaking of kind, let's talk about this. I'm wearing my bracelet. I get to show you my
Oh, I love
bracelet.
it.
So
Yeah,
I'm wearing my Decide to Be Kind bracelet. And just as a little aside, I remember you sent this all the way to Israel. And I kept
I did.
saying to you, it's so far. Are you sure you want to do that? And you went, these bracelets travel the world. We can do this. And it's like in the middle of COVID, it still came and found me in Israel. So I got my bracelet. So, do you want to talk about, because that's also about being social, that kind of fits in with our theme. Do you want to talk about how you even came up with the whole Decide to Be Kind movement?
So, uh, so it started in 2020, early 2020, but in 2019, I don't know what it was, but it was a year of people reaching out and asking me how they could report, um, just abuse on LinkedIn or bullying on LinkedIn. And I over and over again, I was sending them what I knew, uh, how best to make sure that if you want to, get something recognized by LinkedIn or get something, have some content looked at or delete it, like what you could do to kind of like that
Mm,
ensure you're doing the right thing. And then I noticed, wow, like this is bigger than what I actually thought it was. Like
mm.
people were, I mean, there are 2 stories that kind of stick out for me. One was somebody was being harassed by a coworker, and the
Oh,
coworker was changing his profile. So he would add a new profile just to stalk her.
oh,
And she became really scared and then went off LinkedIn. And that really bothered me because she was somebody who, was a go giver on LinkedIn. She had lots of content to share and she just was done. And that really affected me, because we had become friends and I just respected
mm.
her a lot. And I still respect her a lot. I'm in touch with her. She is back on LinkedIn. But,
Yay.
but it did cause her a lot of like anxiety. Um, and she, so much so that she just didn't want to be on LinkedIn anymore.
Wow.
The other one was a story of somebody who got into an engagement pod. And I think this is a good opportunity to mention what an engagement a pod is, as opposed to just
Yes.
a group of people, getting together, group of experts getting together to help each other. And that's different. So there are 2, let's make sure that there's a difference between that. An engagement pod is basically someone who manages to get a group of people together, preys on the vulnerable,
Mm,
gets them to basically be part of a group. But there's certain things that you have to do as part of that group. You have to post. There's certain things that you have to do. Like they line it up for you. And if you don't do them, you can be kicked out of the group. But
mm.
unfortunately, you're all that person who's been selected to go into that engagement pod went in trying to build community. They might have been lonely. They might have been LinkedIn looking for that community. They got
Yep.
that community just to find out that there were certain things they couldn't do. Maybe they couldn't keep up with it. Maybe life got in the way. Who knows? But once they were not committing to doing certain actions,
Yep.
then they were let go and everybody turned against them that were in that pod. It's
Ooh.
almost like it's I don't know. It just reminds me of a cult, just a cult on
Yeah.
LinkedIn. And I studied a lot about cults when I was younger, and so that seeing that again, it really resonated with me. And this particular person was asked to give money, was asked
Ooh,
to give money, and that's
ooh,
where when the money was asked of her, that's when she reached out because she didn't feel that was right. She had no money, no, like, but she felt that she had to give some, to
yep.
stay where she was. And so that became a big dilemma for her. And I thought, this is not right. This is
Mm-mm.
bullying. And, I just don't put up with any bullying. So I thought, what can I do? What can I do to make some kind of mark on this, something that is so detrimental to LinkedIn? And that was, I could develop a community, and through that community we could grow. Because when you believe in something,
Mm.
the best thing you can do is promote it. Then if you
Yep.
promote it, you get other people that are willing to go along with you for the ride. So that I just took a chance last January. I ordered my wristbands, and the whole idea was that if you bought a wristband, you would get one free to pay forward to
Oh,
develop
love
the
that.
community. And 1,159 wristbands have traveled the world.
Wow.
and 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 yeah, like it's been a little bit difficult over COVID,
Yep.
very difficult, from just being present to developing it, to even sending the wristbands, and even getting the wristbands delivered, because I'm
I
in
bet.
Canada and my supplier is in the US. So even now I'm waiting for a backup order. So I don't
Wow.
like to promote when I can't deliver. That's
Sure.
just my mode of business. So I'm hoping to, once, now that things have slowed down and things have opened up, I will be able to go a step further again. And I'm going to change it around a little bit. And I'm going to start really identifying stories of
Mm,
social givers, we'll call it. And I'm going to be just taking the Decide to Be Kind up campaign up a notch, and really
nice.
highlighting the people that are doing things to really, really
Mm,
give on LinkedIn. And so we'll just see a little bit of a different swing on the Decide to Be
wow.
Kind campaign, but it'll be great because it'll be around true stories of people that have grown by just deciding that being kind is the way to go. And
Awesome.
you know and social reciprocity actually allows you to go upstream on LinkedIn. So anyway, stay
I
tuned.
love
I'll keep
that.
telling a
So
lot of
follow that hashtag. Follow Shelly's hashtag, decide to be kind, and then you'll be in the know of the new details and when bracelets are available again. Because I absolutely love my bracelet. And I love that one of the things that you recommended is when you get your bracelet to send a picture in. And
yes,
I've done a video, you've done
yes.
videos, you've done slideshows of all the people. And you have this one great big graphic on your website that's like this gigantic picture frame of like all these people, and they're all happy with their little bracelets. And it's like some people have them with their dogs and, all sorts of different things. Whole families, you can buy just, a bunch. So when you're ready, so follow that hashtag, guys. Follow that hashtag. So maybe this would be a good time for us to take some comments. So let me hop over to the comments. Okay. So we have Diana Wilson. Usually Jeff is the first to comment. Diana beat him out today. Okay. Hi, ladies. She's coming in to us from YouTube. Hi, ladies. I am super excited to be joining you today. Social reciprocity. SR is such a great topic. I don't know. I have a brain phrase for that word. Thank you, Diana. Okay, here we go. Jeff. You got your two ladies together. Yoo-hoo! Two of my favorite. Decide to be kind ladies on LinkedIn. Jillian and Shelly together. Great to see you. Namaste. We just love Jeff. Jeff is just, and Jeff, if you wanted to really have a poster child that represents everything that you're talking about, Shelly, it's got to be Jeff, because he is the ultimate go-giver, and I laugh and I tell people he was my very, very first LinkedIn virtual chit chat. And I remember showing up and thinking, I wonder what this guy was going to sell me. And Jeff had nothing to sell. He just showed up and he's just Jeff. And it was just like, and I was so nervous because I was waiting for a pitch and there was no pitch because that's not Jeff. So that was just so fun. That was just so fun. Woohoo. Hi, Marcia. How you doing today? And we've got Seb from sunny Zurich. They're coming in from all over. We have the lovely Sarah Clay. Hey. We've got them coming in from London, from England. We've got Michelle coming in from Scotland. Hi, ladies. I think a lot of these folks are in your Decide to Be Kind club, too.
Yeah, lots of familiar faces, which is nice.
Yes. Hi, Sarah. Happy to be here. So anyone who's new, remember, follow that hashtag, Decide to Be Kind. And as Gandhi says, in a world where you can be anything, be kind. It's just the right thing to do. Manali, hi, everyone. Good morning from New York. So great. Hi, everyone from Barbados. Great to be able to join you. Woo-hoo-hoo. Hey, Gail. We got Jim coming in from Cambridge, UK. He is the smashing music person. If you need music, Jim's your man. He's just got all sorts of great copyright, royalty-free, and free music for creators on LinkedIn. So he's an absolute, he's just great with that. So that's, again, he came on my show, Shelly. So just a little story about Jim. Jim came on my show. He was new to LinkedIn. And he said he was so inspired by seeing all the other people giving on LinkedIn. He went, I'd like to give. What could I give? And he said, my genius is music. And he makes his own sort of music tracks and this and that. And he says, I'm going to build a website and it will have all sorts of free music that LinkedIn creators can download and use in their videos and projects. And he doesn't ask for anything. You can buy him a cup of coffee if you want to be kind and thank him, but he doesn't require you pay for stuff. And he said he just did it because that was his way he could give back. And that's, like you said, so now that's become Jim's story. And his whole approach to LinkedIn is about giving instead of taking. Not that he ever took, because he didn't take, but he came immediately from a place of giving. And it made him a richer, deeper person. So
absolutely. The gifts will come. The gifts will come.
Yes. We have the lovely Miss G. Hi, all
Miss
on
G.
call, but here and supporting you, lovely ladies. Fantastic topic. I love that she's on hold. Yay, G. Glad you came. Oh, we've got Claire. Hi, Jillian and Shelly. Oh, it's always nice to see Claire. She's just such a bright light here on LinkedIn.
Absolutely.
We've got Susan, another Canadian. I don't know if you know Susan, but she's across the country from you. So another Canadian in the house. I think we're taking over the world. The Canadians truly, we're taking over the world. One LinkedIn live at a time. We're taking over the world.
Or one LinkedIn latte at a time.
Oh, there we go. LinkedIn lattes with Canadians. I love it. We have Anna. Hello from Bonnie, Scotland. I just look at the tartan. I love the tartan in her background. That's really nice. That's a really nice look. I've never seen anybody do that before. That's very, very interesting. I love that. And I just love the globalness of this all. It's wonderful. Social reciprocity equals social karma. That is for sure. Absolutely.
100%, Sebastian.
Absolutely. So true. LinkedIn is a social network. You need to consider others and not be so focused on yourself. And I just think that so many people, they just come on LinkedIn and they just think they're just going to, oh, great. 80 million people or whatever we're at now. I can't keep track of how many billion people are on LinkedIn. It's just like my math brain can't do the math. But you just go, some people just see it as like, oh, what a place. What a place. I can just tap in and I can just get all these people to buy my stuff. And it's like, they just don't do very well. And then they just kind of, oh, well, I'll go off to Snapchat now. Yeah, they're
Or
just
what I notice a lot about LinkedIn is that people just set it up to send something back, whether you
mm,
would want it or not. And I've received a lot lately. I call them gifts, but unfortunately I can't repurpose them, right? But they're not gifts I'm interested in. When we start tuning into what the gifts that people are interested in, then that can change it. That can change the dynamics of the relationships that you have. But when I go on LinkedIn and I just simply connect with somebody looking to further the conversation, but get something back, an entire feed of something that I'm not interested in, whether it's
mm,
LinkedIn training or something I do myself or something that is completely out of my wheelhouse that I'm not interested in. I really don't want to further that relationship. And somebody asked me yesterday, and I just thought that I would share, but somebody said, do you do that? Do you have something that automatically sends out? So when you connect with somebody, do you automatically send something? And do you know that in all of the years that I've been on LinkedIn, I have never done that once. Not
wow.
once have I ever sent anybody something about my business or what I do, unless, for example, I'm going to be on a LinkedIn Live or I'm
Right.
going to be doing an event or I've been asked for something specifically, but I have never sent something automatically without being provoked to do so and knowing that
I
that
agree.
person could benefit. I've never done it. And yeah.
That's important. That's important because, you know, first impressions, you don't have a second chance. So if you immediately send me stuff and or you start asking me silly questions, like you
Yes.
connect with me and then you
Mm.
start saying, "So what do you do for a living? Where do you live?" And it's like then all of a sudden I'm going, "Well, you know what? You're now getting out of integrity because if you
Right.
couldn't take the 2 seconds to go and look at my profile and I connected with you and, you know, you just kind of
Mm.
go, I don't know. And probably my pet peeve is, and I don't really have a good comeback for this. So maybe you could make a suggestion because I can't be the only person that has this. People that just send me their posts. They don't say, "Hi, Jillian, I thought you'd like this post because it was interesting, or I mentioned you, or whatever." They're just sending me their posts, and their posts have nothing to do with my expertise. They have nothing to do with my interests. They have nothing to do with me. They're just sending me their posts, and it's just like, I don't know, what do you do with
Yeah.
that?
They're sending it to you in the direct messaging in the DM for you to comment on it. That's what they're doing, right? They want you to comment on it.
And
Um,
they don't even take the time to do that. They just send me their post.
so I try to lead by example. So if they send me something and I have the time to do it, I will respond and say, could you tell me a little bit more about why you're sent this to me? Just to get the
Mm,
conversation going. Like I'll get the conversation going. Otherwise, I mean, sometimes I don't respond if it's completely outside of like, even if we don't have a relationship, which happens a lot, if we don't have a relationship and somebody's continuously sending me posts like that, which happens, I just simply don't respond. And then there comes a time that I may not even want to have that person in my network.
mm,
And I'm not like that. I'm a networker. So, but
right.
I'm a networker with purpose. Like my
Mm,
network is purposeful. Like I do it with meaning. Whoever comes into my network, maybe we won't be close, but there's the possibility or the potential of becoming close. I
I
always
like
go in
that.
with that idea. We may not get there, but there's the potential of getting there. But
Yep.
if I see that you're constantly doing something that deep down you know is wrong, then I'm not going to engage with it. But if I think it's just somebody, they do it occasionally, I will get the conversation going in the DM to find out why did they send it to me. And then if I feel like it's a teaching moment, um, I'll
Smart.
provide some feedback. And if they're not open to it, that's okay too. Like I can only provide with what I can provide, and I'll certainly provide based on my experience,
Yep.
and hopefully, it's good advice. But no, if it gets to be like a few days ago, I think somebody, I look back and there were 6 that had been sent to me, 6 posts
Posts.
that have been sent to me. No introduction, no reason why, just the post itself. And I never commented on anyone. And then finally I decided to respond politely and professionally, but to respond as a teaching moment. And then
Mm.
hopefully it is, because as a trainer, I do feel I'm a teacher. I'll say, like Jeff,
I
it
think
is
that's
my
good.
superpower, right? So,
Yep. Yep.
yeah, that's what I do. But and then I wrote about it. I did write a post about it as well, because, and I think the more people that write posts about certain things, we can send out the messages through our content that these are
I
some
love it.
good tips. These are some things you should really embrace and learn about, because they're going to make your experience much much better, and and it's going to help you to be more successful in every way on LinkedIn if you learn these little best practices. There
I
are
love it.
LinkedIn best practices. I call it LI, LinkedIn intelligence. That's
Ooh.
what I call it, LI,
Ooh.
LinkedIn intelligence. And it's really important to have, just like EQ. Hmm.
Awesome. Awesome.
Hmm.
Well, believe it or not, we are at 30, we're past 30 minutes. So it's just
Wow.
like whoosh, it flies. It always flies. So before we close out, could you maybe just leave like one final word of wisdom with us about our topic today?
So if when you go on LinkedIn, before you even get started on your content or anything like that, take a few breaths, deep breaths, maybe 3 deep breaths, and then just in your head, think about, what could I offer to my network today? What is one thing I could do for my network today? And then do that first. And
Mm,
then go back and breathe a few times, and then go on with your day and write all the content that you want. And that's really what I my tip is, because if we start doing that, we will always we will always start our day on LinkedIn by thinking about other people, and those gifts will come back to us. If
I
we
love it.
always start with social reciprocity, the gifts will follow.
Beautiful. Nicely said. Thank you, Shelly. Okay, everybody, we're going to sign off now. And Shelly, stay. Sign off now. And then we will talk with you guys next week on another LinkedIn Live. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone. Thank you, Julie.